The 1940s Decade by Nicole Mallon.
As the 40s dawned, America was a nation of 132,122,000 people. Minimum wage, 43 cents per hour. If you were born in this decade, you could expect to live for 68.2 years if female, and 60.8 if you were a man. Your parents would have been part of what has been called the greatest generation. If you were born in the first part of the decade, you're a war baby. A member of the Beat generation. If you were born in the second half of the decade, you are part of the most significant group of Americans in the 21st century, the baby boomers. Cars were everywhere, and gas cost 15 cents a gallon. The average cost of a new home was $5,600. While only 55% of Americans' homes had indoor plumbing. And America's farmers had to make do without electricity. If you were born in the 40s, your decade began with the election of Franklin Delano Roosevelt to an unprecedented third term. The country was isolationist. American workers finally got the 40-hour work week. Nylon stockings went on sale for the first time. And Glenn Miller wrote the decade's signature song, In the Mood.
Historical events in the 40s. Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. The Pearl Harbor naval base was attacked by Japanese bomber and torpedo planes. The first wave of Japanese planes started at 7:40 a.m. This was a surprise attack on the U.S. The last attack ended at 9:45 a.m. About 2,335 U.S. servicemen died and about 1,143 were wounded. 68 civilians were killed, leaving 35 wounded. Here is a map of the attack. The next day, FDR gives the Day of Infamy speech, which says,
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. The United States was at peace with that nation, and at the solicitation of Japan, was still in conversation with its government and its emperor, looking toward the maintenance of peace in the Pacific. Indeed, 1 hour after Japanese air squadrons had commenced bombing in the American island of Oahu, the Japanese ambassador to the United States and his colleague delivered to our Secretary of State a formal reply to a recent American message. Japan has therefore undertaken a surprise offensive extending throughout the Pacific area. The facts of yesterday and today speak for themselves. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory. With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
World War II. In 1939, World War II, also known as the Second World War, was the most widespread and one of the most deadliest wars in history. The war involved more than 30 countries and killed more than 50 million military and civilian deaths. This estimates about 85 million deaths. The war lasted 6 years, 1939 through 1945. The final Allied defeat was both on Nazi Germany and Japan. The Holocaust. The Holocaust in Greek language means whole bone. This means to describe a sacrificial offering burned on an altar. Since the end of World War II in 1945, the World Holocaust had taken on a new meaning, a mass murder of some 6 million European Jews. Nazi leader Adolf Hitler sent the Jews to concentration camps. Here is a brief description of the concentration camps seen by U.S. servicemen.
Concentration camps are in a category all by themselves. They were of such magnitude that it is beyond comprehension. It's more than the human mind can even conceive of. I happen to be witness to two. Each one was worse than the one before. When you first come across it, you look, but you don't see. You listen, but you don't hear. Your mind closes down. We talked to them, and they would cry. They were beyond having a voice. Most of them tried to reach out and just touch you with a fingertip, anything, just to ensure in their mind that what they were looking at on the other side of the wire, us, was real. They were all within minutes of dying. We called for every doctor in the division, please, come this way. And it was too late. Most of them died after we liberated them. We made a covenant with them. They said, promise me you will never let the world forget what you're seeing here. Having seen a concentration camp, it had a bigger effect on my life than anything else I've ever seen or thought or done.
The women of the 40s. After the bombing at Pearl Harbor, male workers were depleted to fill the ranks of the U.S. At this time, there were no male workers working in factories and munitions. J. Walter Thompson, and with the help of the U.S. government, made campaigns to encourage women to join the workforce. The famous poster, "We Can Do It," was made in about 1942. The artist's name is J. Howard Miller. The woman in the picture is called Rosie the Riveter. Rosie is a fictional character trying to make women join the workforce. Later on, they made a song about Rosie. Here is some of the song written by Red Evans and John Jacob Lowe. There's something true about red, white, and blue about Rosie. The Riveter. Women's work in the 1940s consisted of working in factories and shipyards and many more. Inventions of the 40s. In 1946, ENIAC 1 is the first electronic computer. The computer was invented by John Mankley and John Creswell Eckert. ENIAC 1 means Electronical Numerical Integrator and Computer. The American military helped sponsor the research. Armies needed a computer to calculate artillery firing tables and to adjust target accuracy. In the same year, the first microwave was invented by Percy Spencer on January 1, 1946. It is said to have weighed 750 pounds, and it was about 6 feet tall. The price of these microwaves was about $2,000 to $5,000. Until the late 60s, it costed only $495. Music and fashion of the 40s. Glenn Miller, who is a musician, inspired the World War II generation and boosted more with many popular songs. In 1944, Glenn Miller died a mysterious death. Glenn's plane disappeared and has not been discovered. Glenn Miller wrote a song called Chattanooga Choo Choo. Here is part of the song. Glenn Miller wrote another song called In the Mood. Here is part of the song. After World War II, the new style of clothes embraced femininity. Females wore rounded shorter coats, shapely bust lines, waistlines, semi-padded skirts, and billowing skirts that hovered below the calves. Blouses were worn frequently with skirts. Teenage girls wore sport sweaters, knee-length skirts, and Barbie socks.